Margaret Kobos. I'm the CEO and founder of Oklahoma United. And if anyone has been watching these open mic for open primaries episodes, this new podcast we're doing, you know that we are trying to highlight voices and people from Oklahoma, the exceptional people that we have met as part of this process of learning about an election reform and devising a reform that makes sense for Oklahoma and has the promise to move us all forward and solve big problems. So I'm thrilled today because I have a privilege of talking with Dr. Donnie Nero. And Dr. Nero, I'm going to give you a little introduction first, just so
Okay.
everyone knows a little bit about who you are and where you've been. And
Okay.
I actually want to focus this podcast on education and
Okay.
young people. And I think that those are two things that the two of us share a passion for. And you have demonstrated that with your life's work. And I know that you went to Sapulpa did you finish elementary school in Sapulpa and then you went on somewhere else?
Yeah. See, Sapulpa was the first job of employment after college. So I attended the historical Black School of Dungy High School there in Oklahoma City, where Clara Looper was my teacher and Nancy Davis, some of those historical educators. So went to Dungy and then went to East Central. And then after graduation, my wife and I went to Sapulpa, which was the first job that we had in Sapulpa schools.
Right, and you graduated from OSU, right, with a degree in education, and then you went on to get a doctorate, correct?
Yes, yes, I graduated from East Central with a bachelor's degree and then Oklahoma State University for a master's and Oklahoma State University for the doctoral degree. So
What
I
an
had some excellent,
amazing,
yeah.
what an amazing privilege to have Clara Looper as an inspiration. I just
I
can't
don't,
even
yeah,
imagine
I,
that.
I don't think I would be where I am today without a teacher like Claire Looper, some parents who kept me on track, and the church. So there were three entities that we had involved in our lives: the church, the home, and education. And Miss Looper was the cornerstone.
Mm-hmm. You
Yeah,
know, that I don't want to stray too much into it, but those values, the three things that you just mentioned, really resonate today across our state. And I think that it also dovetails with what we're trying to do to get young people more interested and give them a path to leadership in our state. And all three of those things, education, faith, that just really means a lot to all of us in moving Oklahoma forward. And I could list all of your, I have it written down, all these accomplishments. The president of the Oklahoma Council of two-year college presidents. You served as the provost at Tulsa Community College before becoming the leader of Connors State College, and so the president there, and Oklahoma Educators Hall of Fame, a Higher Education Hall of Fame. And then in your free time, apparently you've been working as the chairman of the Juvenile Justice, Juvenile Affairs Office. And then you also, I met your wonderful wife one time, and I know that you're both very involved in the historic preservation of Clearview,
yeah,
Oklahoma. And that's where you live now, right?
that's right. We reside in Clearview, one of the historical Black towns in Oklahoma. And once again, just like Claire Looper, I wouldn't be where I am today without that wife who continued to prop me up every time I would fall. So yeah, she is a tremendous asset, and wouldn't be where I am without Shirley Nero. So
Well, I want to talk to you about education a little bit in the large sense in Oklahoma. We've just been ranked 50th in education in Oklahoma, and a lot of people are troubled about that. And I'm going to hope that we can connect that outcome with the input that we have in our political system today. So I don't know if you could share with us your opinion about education and how, the things that the people involved in education and how desperately both parents, teachers, all of us want to serve our students so that we can pass the baton to them and let them run into the future with confidence and with their own ideas. So can you
Yeah,
talk about
yeah,
that? Because I know that you see students, you've spent your life with students. How do you feel about kids today?
yeah. Well, I have four grandchildren. One who just graduated from Pittsburgh State. One granddaughter at East Central University, and I have two grandbabies, as I call them. They're at Glenpool Elementary School. So I am very interested in education, and my daughter is a teacher at Glenpool. So that education is so crucial, and I have emphasized to them the importance of an education. That is something that no one can take from you. You know, we people can take many things from you, but once you get that education and that degree, they can't take that from you. One of the concerns that I have when I first started teaching in Sapulpa, I taught three subjects. I taught math, and I taught civics, and I taught science. And one of the things that really concerns me today is the elimination of some of the civics courses that were taught when I was a teacher. And that's where we learn about America, Oklahoma, this great United States where we live, the Constitution, all of the things that we fall under, if you will, as citizens of this great nation in which we live. And so part of that citizenship and citizen class is the freedom to vote and what voting really means to young people and individuals. We can sit on the sideline and we can complain about things, but until we are active participants in the voting process, I always explain to my grandkids and others, we don't have anything to complain about because if we're on the sideline. So education is the key. And to be rated 50th in the nation is a concern that I have. We have a lot of people who no longer desire to be teachers in Oklahoma, and we need to change that. I may be retired, but I'm not retired from the responsibilities that we have and I have to convince and to reciprocate, if you will, the abilities and the knowledge that we need to be productive citizens. So education is a key. I was an educator for 42 years, so it's near and dear to my heart. So I can't give it up overnight. So it's
Right.
very, yeah.
Right. I was in a meeting a couple of years ago, and there was an older gentleman who was pretty grumpy. And I have told this story a couple of times, and it really stuck with me. A lot of things, the best thing about the work that we are doing at Oklahoma United is my ability, or all of our team's ability, to find people like you and meet new people who are truly experts in their fields, and or people who are just normal people, and really getting into their heads about what is going on, and how they view the world, and what do they think about the obstacles facing us in Oklahoma, and trying to find some common ground. So I was at a
Yes.
meeting, and there was a guy who was throwing shade on his own grandkids and saying that
Mm,
they don't want to vote, they don't want to participate. He's tried everything, that they're just lazy, literally just dishing it out. And I think that although I understand frustration, when
hmm.
you're maybe a mature person and you don't understand why your grandkids or great grandkids, you know, it's just hard to look at it from their view. And that's where I get down to the voting and feeling like you're part of the process and feeling like there's hope for the future. And I think that's what you and I are trying to do with this conversation. And that's what we want to see, because we want to leave the world a better place, right?
Right, right, right. Yeah, I think it's very important to. I always want to take a positive, make it a positive spin on some of the things that we need to accomplish. You know, I don't want to degrade or belittle anyone, especially my grandkids or anyone else who may not be voting. I want to share with them the positive aspects of and the importance of why we should be voters. And so, with that, I think my granddaughter, for the first time, we here in Okfuskee County, I'm the vice chair for the Democratic Party in Okfuskee County, and so we explained to her the importance of it, and she registered to vote. That's to become a voter just about a month ago, and so she said, "Papa, I'm going to vote now. I'm going to start voting and be involved in the process," and that's what it takes. So when she does that, then those other students that she socializes with and are in her class or her friends, she can convey and encourage them also to become involved in the process. So it just takes one person sometimes to convince others the importance of making a difference and how we can make a difference. We can sit back and complain, or we can move forward and make a difference. And that's the what I want to convey and have been conveying to my grandchildren.
Yeah, so I started Oklahoma United after realizing that we were last in the US in voter participation, and that really troubles me a lot. It fell further, our statistic fell further in 2024 from 2020 when I first started looking at it. And so we've always been all about trying to figure out why people are not voting. And that gets me to this reform that we are proposing with State Question 836. And you've already spoken directly at the original launch of our state question. You gave a wonderful speech about talking about open primaries and why you think they give hope to a new generation. But the fact is that a lot of these younger people they don't really, even though your granddaughter or whoever may be registered in a party and they want to be part of that party, a lot of people these days just want to register to vote as an independent. So we know that if we can get people voting, it correlates to a lot of really great other stuff in civic life, right?
Yes,
And you, for
yes.
example, you're so active, and you and your wife, you're contributing to your communities. You always have. You volunteer. You sit on boards. What kind of future do you think you see for your granddaughter and her friends? What are the things besides that you think voting will lead to?
Yeah. Well, also, we've been encouraging her. First thing she needs to do is make those grades, pass those courses that she's enrolled in. And then she wants to be involved in some of the organizations there at East Central in Ada. So I can see her involvement being very important. But the idea of her and her kid and her students, her friends, becoming more involved in the day-to-day operation or process on the campus. Uh, a student who is active on campus, involved in student activities and other programs, will be more apt to participate in the process in the voting process. And so, what we're trying to do and will do, Shirley and I, we're going to, as grandparents, volunteer our time in Ada to be able to develop and create an organization to assist these students, because we have found if students are involved in educational activities in class, they're more apt to graduate. So, because that's the way that we got through East Central, being a small group of minority students on the campus, we had to find a sponsor to be able to help us and assist us in the process. And you need to keep in mind during that time, there weren't any Black faculty members. So you had to be a sponsor or you had to be a faculty member to become a sponsor. So we had to solicit the assistance from one of our white professors who immediately said, yes, yes, we will do it. It's amazing if you just ask people to do something, their willingness to do it. So I think our role right now is not only at East Central, but when we get that started at East Central, we want to move to Northeastern State. We want to move to Southeastern State. We want to move to Cameron and the other institutions on campus. But it takes one individual to get that going. So that is our emphasis, to be able to do that today. And the freedoms that they have. We always want to associate the freedoms that they have with democracy or the process. How did those freedoms come about? And we always tell our grandkids the freedoms that they have today and the things that they can do today. We could not do those things in the 60s. And so, how did that evolve? It evolved by people becoming active in the process, denying or squashing those individuals who said you can't do something. And so we explained to them, please take advantage of the opportunities you have today, because if you don't, you may not have those tomorrow. So we're going to, as old grandparents, do all we can to get young people in the state of Oklahoma involved in the process.
I love that you're just staying in the game and you've got all these great new ideas. And
Yeah,
I mean, I always think that democracy doesn't run itself.
right.
Our state government, our local government, all those boards and authorities, it doesn't matter if you have a finance degree or you're a coach, as you were at one time. All of
Right.
that is part of the equation in our country and in our state. And for Oklahoma to get better and really to realize its best, it is going to take
Yes,
all of our talent. And it's not something you just watch from the sidelines.
that's
So,
right.
and I think also, don't you think that even especially today, young people need to be reassured that we respect them and the future that they're going to have. We want them to take the reins at some point whenever they're ready. We want them to do it. We need them to do it. We need to give them the tools to do it. And then today you've got all of this, a lot of issues with people feeling isolated right now
Yes,
with technology and everything else. And we know that mental health in young people is a real challenge sometimes, and obviously older people too. But
yeah.
the way that one of the ways to do that is to get busy and to get involved and to be part of a group, right?
Correct. That is correct. We have to truly be involved, and we have found that it's much easier to be involved in a process or an effort if you have been actively involved in something else. And so, by being involved in the exposure that you have to other people and other organizations, it's easier to approach those individuals if you have been involved or if you have been involved in the process. Now, to ask someone to be a leader or participate in an organization or an effort and they haven't been involved in it, that's a task.
Dr. Nero, tell me why you gravitated to the reform of open primaries. What drew you to it when you first heard about it?
To be involved in this initiative, uh, the first thing that we as individuals sometimes need to realize is the influence and the impact that we have on the lives of other people. And so the things that we are and the opportunities that we are engaged in every day. And so being a member or the treasurer for the Oklahoma Conference of Black Mayors, which consists of 13 plus additional Black towns and communities in the state of Oklahoma, we meet on a bi-monthly basis. And it's an opportunity. It's been an opportunity for me to share this information with them and to let them know that their vote does count, and to let them know if they have not been voting in past elections that they need to because of the various reasons. So many of them say, "Well, my vote just doesn't make a difference." Yes, it does make a difference. Each vote makes a difference, but we have to encourage them. Once again, you don't use the sledgehammer. You need to be show them and explain how it will benefit them. They want to know how it's going to impact my life. So you have to be able to bring it to that level and let them know from the city, from the county, from the state, from the national level, how it makes a difference in their lives. And so we've had people to recertify and to renew their election election cards to be able to vote. So it's crucial that we take advantage of the influence, the positions that we have to let people know that they can make a difference.
So what you tell them when they say, I've never heard of this, you probably, I'm going to guess, you say, well, this is going to be an open primary where there's one ballot and everybody votes for whoever they want. It doesn't matter how you're registered. It's one menu. Everybody is on there and every single vote matters. Is that what you tell them?
Yeah. I usually give them the example of the senator that we had in Okfuskee County, Roger Thompson, who was my state senator before he resigned. I always wanted to vote for Roger Thompson. Roger was a Republican. I am a Democrat, but I was not allowed or able to vote for Roger Thompson because I'm a Democrat and he was a Republican, and the primaries called for the different parties to vote for those individuals. And I explained to them, you know, I'm voting for the best person. That's who I want to vote for. But the way it's set up now, I can't vote for the best person. I just have to vote for the person with the D or the R in front of their name. And so I use that example all the time to let them know that Roger did things for all the people. If you're a Republican and you're doing it for all the people, I'm going to vote for you. If you're an independent and you're doing it for all the people, I want to vote for you. But the present and the current system does not allow that to happen. And that's what we have to change in the state of Oklahoma.
And that's the message that your friends and your acquaintances, they all get that, right?
They all get that because most of them, a great deal of them, knew or know Roger Thompson. And they knew they hadn't thought about that because they like, that's a very good point. I hadn't thought of that I couldn't vote for Roger. No, you couldn't vote for Roger if you were a Democrat. Or you couldn't vote for this good candidate over here if you in the Democratic Party if you are a Republican or independent. So once you bring it to that level and understand that hits home, that makes sense to them that we need to change this system.
Yeah, and in your cities and towns in Okfuskee County or you know even back in Sapulpa, Creek County or anywhere else, all of our local cities and towns use an open primary system right now. So it's a system that we already use in every single city and town. So a lot of people, they don't realize, I didn't even realize until I started doing this research and this taking this project on, I didn't know that there was another way, that there was an option. And then
Yes,
once I realized, oh wait, we've done this to ourselves.
yes,
I think maybe how can we undo that? And so that's why we're here today, with this
right.
state question in front of us.
Right. And we had our representatives in the town of Clearview a while back, and we shared our concerns with them. And we realized that it is an uphill battle in some cases, but we at least we shared our concerns with them on the process. And as long as you remain silent and you don't voice your concerns or explain why you want these things to happen, things are going to remain the same. So they at least know how we feel or what our requests are today.
Well, let's take it back to education because that's a great example of something that Oklahomans across the board, up and down, no matter where you're from, what your zip code is, or whatever it is, we want decent public education in our state. And we have a system right now that is producing the result that we see. So the system we have, the people who are controlling the policy, the people who have been in control, since we started as a state in a partisan system with limited choices, and marginalized voters.
Right.
That's how we got to where we are. And so if we really want to fix education, we want to have progress, we want to have a serious discussion about it on a statewide level, we have to change the system and make all of our elected officials accountable to all of us, right?
Yes. Yes. I I think we need to look at that heart of the problem, as you stated. Who would want to become an educator in Oklahoma? Uh, or who would want to come to Oklahoma as an educator now if you're going to have to follow some other strict mandates that are put before you? Sad to say, I have a niece who was educated here in Oklahoma, attended Oklahoma college, and as soon as she graduated from the college, she went to Texas. She went to Texas because of the pay. Now, the pay is the first thing they look at, and I understand that. So we need to increase that the avenue of pay for our teachers. We need to do that, and we also need to have teachers who care about students. And I'm very passionate about that because back in the day when Mrs. Looper taught me, she lived in our communities. Teachers don't live in the communities where they teach today. I saw Mrs. Looper 6 or 7 days a week, and that included Sunday, as you know, because she was in church also. So it takes that community, it takes the education, it takes the parents to be able to do that. Part of the problem also is not all in the school districts. Parents, we need some accountability and some structure with the parents as well. When a parent tells me, don't touch my kid or don't do anything to my kid, there's a problem. When I went to Sapulpa, the first school that I taught in, the parents would say to me, don't send them home. You take care of the problem here, and then I'll take care of the problem when they get home. So I say all that to say kids are going to be kids. They haven't changed that much. The system that we have in place to educate our kids, we need to look at that from the top down because the state of Oklahoma is not making it a priority for education and for teachers
Right,
today. And my
right.
daughter, who is at Glenpool now, she left the state of Oklahoma and went to Texas. And because we were here, she came back. So it's multifaceted, Margaret, if you will. There's so many things that we need to change and make a difference in. But education is the key.
That gets me to, I mean, I'm a pretty simple person, and I like to cook a little bit. And when you cook, you know that you want to have the finished product, but there are steps along the way,
Yeah,
and you
yeah,
have to go through the process and the steps. And with our initiative petition, with this citizen petition, State Question 836, it's all about starting with the first step. You know, we know that we want to get to great schools. We all want that.
yes,
Right now, the first step is let's allow everybody to speak and to vote, and let's put accountability on our elected officials to their entire constituency. So State Question 836 would immediately bring in the 500,000 independent voters, right? Which
yes,
is the largest growing voter population in the country and in the fastest growing in Oklahoma. So it would immediately scoop up all those people. But then it actually has an interesting effect of making those elected officials accountable. So you talked about talking to elected officials in Clearview, you know, that would
yes,
come and talk to you. Wouldn't it
yes,
be nice, you know, as our license plates now say, imagine that. Imagine a world in which those elected officials are really listening to you.
right.
They're not, it's not performative, it is real. And the things that they go back to our state capitol and talk about when they are in session are a direct reflection of what you told them when you met with them and had coffee in Clearview. Imagine
Right.
that.
Imagine that. Yes, the accountability to be able, but many of them today, they don't seem to be accountable or want to be accountable to their constituents. You know, it's whatever makes them look good, or whichever uh, initiative they want to support because somebody is helping them under the table, if you will. So the lobbyists are very strong.
We have a weird system here. We need to fix this. And it starts with the people. We have great people like you, like your families. I mean, oh my gosh, it's so impressive, everything that you've done, and you continue to give, and you're not giving up. And we are not giving up either. And we've been described recently as stubborn, and I guess maybe we are.
Yes, yes. Whatever
So
adjective they want to attach to us will be that, but we want to make this, we want to bring about this change. We have to do that.
thank you so much for everything today and this conversation. I think this is really going to be great for people to listen to, and just a great legacy that you are bringing to everyone across the state with us. And thank you so much for your support.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate all the good work you're doing.